Here's a fun question for you. What is the only age rating to have been retired by the North American Entertainment Software Rating Board? The answer is EC, which stood for Early Childhood, and denoted games that were suitable for players of any age, right down to toddlers, more or less equivalent to PEGI's 3 rating. The EC rating was retired due to disuse, and all EC games were retroactively changed to E for everyone. Which made sense, of course. If something is suitable for literally everyone, that ought to include children as well. And ideally, if a game is good fun for children, then it should be good fun for anyone else as well. Or at least for the parents who've been roped into playing it with their kids. Today we celebrate those children's games that are good for everyone. The classics that moulded and shaped us in our youth and became our very first exposure to the hobby of gaming we all now share. I'm Ashton from TripleJump, and here are 10 fantastic children's games you've probably forgotten about. Number 10, Pandora's Box. Stories of mythological figures have delighted audiences since the ancient past, and even today, they continue to be fertile soil for new ideas, such as having Kratos murder them all. But for the younger crowd, there's Pandora's Box. As pure of a puzzle game as puzzle games get, Pandora's Box is a globe-trotting adventure that puts players on the trail of 7 mythical trickster spirits so that they can be imprisoned once more in the titular box. In order to capture these malevolent mischief makers, there are 10 different types of puzzles to be solved, including variations on jigsaws and other tricky challenges that reveal photographs and other art pieces from the numerous cities in which the game takes place. Pandora's Box was one of the later works of Alexei Pajitnov, the much-acclaimed creator of Tetris, and his pedigree shows, as the game's puzzles are simple to understand, yet ramp up to be fiendishly difficult by the end. Many publications named Pandora's Box to be the best puzzle game of 1999, and it became a fixture on many family computers since its combination of brain-teasing challenges and cultural insights into folklore and art from around the world made it a popular choice for parents who wanted something to help their kids think outside the box. Number 9, Mickey Mania. Everybody loves Disney cartoons. I love them, you love them, I'm sure even weird Uncle Bill loves them. There's just something magical and timeless about the worlds and characters inside our favourite animated shows that make us wish we could live there too. And if we can't jump inside our own televisions to do it, then video games are the next best thing. Mickey Mania is a 2D platformer for the SNES and Mega Drive that follows the famous trouser-wearing mouse through levels based on 7 classic cartoons in Disney's library. From Steamboat Willie to The Prince and the Pauper. Along the way, there are enemies to fight, puzzles to solve, and antics to enjoy, all done with a level of polish and animation no less than one would expect from any Disney production of the time. While some critics gave mixed reviews to the game for its low difficulty, many others praised it as a love letter to Mickey Mouse and his animated history, and a perfect entry point into the genre for younger players. It received a Parents' Choice Award and a place on many retrospectives of the best games from its generation, proving that Mickey's greatest adventures truly are timeless. Number 8, Eagle Eye Mysteries. There are many things that kids wish they could be. Astronauts, superheroes, firefighters, tax-paying adults, but one that seems particularly common is the dream of being a detective. Child and teen detectives are a popular fixture in literature. Nancy Drew alone has starred in well over 200 mysteries, so naturally video games have followed suit. Eagle Eye Mysteries is a mystery-solving adventure game that casts the player as a member of a junior detective agency of the same name, alongside a pair of twin siblings, Jake and Jennifer Eagle, as they're tasked with solving a series of small-town capers, including everything from missing persons cases and jewel robberies to potential alien invasions. And if that's not wild enough, in the sequel, they even go to London! How exotic! Eagle Eye Mysteries was not a massive financial success, but it was praised for its ability to marry learning and playing into a seamless experience by teaching kids about various historical and scientific topics in the form of gathering clues and deductive reasoning, making it a perfect addition to the computer gaming library of any family with children of a certain school level. And what level is that? Elementary, my dear Watson. We'd have made that joke more British, but I don't recall Sherlock Holmes ever saying anything about primary schools, so... Number 7, Lego Island. Playing with Lego is a timeless experience, and regardless of what age ratings on the box might say, it's an experience that appeals to everyone, from children still in their nappies to the elderly. It's also an experience that has seen many attempts made to translate it into video game form, and surprisingly, they seemed to get it right first time. Lego Island was the first widely released Lego video game, and was quite the achievement for its time, offering a free-form, non-linear experience in an open world where the player is free to explore, converse with fully voiced NPCs, and build vehicles with which to complete side quests. There are even 5 different playable characters to choose from, each possessing their own unique missions and ways of interacting with the world. There's actually a deeper reason for this design beyond just the fun factor, however. Paul Melmerd, the game's educational director, wanted to incorporate the psychological theory of multiple intelligences. As such, each character's playstyle is built around a different intelligence, such as musical or logical. No matter how they did it though, Lego Island was a massive success and continues to entertain fans way beyond the ages of 7 to 12, becoming an essential building block for the Lego games that would come after. Number 6. Math Blaster. Edutainment is a loaded term. Being a portmanteau of education and entertainment, it describes games that are intended to help the player learn things in addition to providing fun. Though in practice, they're usually rather dry experiences about English lessons or famous historical figures that go heavy on the edu and light on the tainment. This doesn't always have to be the case, however, and perhaps nothing proves that point better than Math Blaster, an arcade-style collection of minigames that, as the name implies, has the player blasting the correct answer to given maths problems. It's simple but effective, with lessons covering everything from addition to division and beyond, and even includes a level editor for parents and teachers to create custom levels. All these elements added up to a rousing success, and Math Blaster received a number of enhancements, re-releases, and sequels from the 80s and into the 2000s, topping the charts as the best-selling math software of all time, and remaining a game that inspires warm feelings of nostalgia in many who grew up playing it on their family computer as a child. Not too shabby for a game with math in the title, eh? Number 5. Scooby-Doo, Night of 100 Frights. Scooby-Doo has been solving mysteries for so long that he should be pushing 400 years old, in dog years of course, and in all of that time he's seen and done just about everything. Starred in cartoons and movies, done commercials, met the Harlem Globetrotters, and of course been in more than a few video games. While many of those games are what you generally expect from licensed tie-ins, i.e. they're not very good, a few rose above the pack, and many fans consider Night of 100 Frights to be the best. After being called to investigate a mystery, Scooby's friends are abducted by a cabal of familiar faces from their rogues gallery, and it's up to the skittish Great Dane to save the day. Let's hope they have plenty of Scooby snacks on hand for this one. It's a healthy dose of all the things that make Mystery Inc.'s exploits a joy to watch, featuring everything from spooky backdrops and famous monsters to classic sound effects and even a laugh track. The game clearly has respect for its source material, as can be seen in the way it recreates famous shots from the original cartoon. And by coupling its excellent presentation and surprisingly decent gameplay, Night of 100 Frights is definitely worth trying to scare up a copy. Number 4. The Clue Finders, The Mystery of Mathra. Ah, good old cartoons. Where would our childhood be without those hours of brain-rotting toy adverts disguised as TV shows? Well, for starters, I would maybe have a much better attention span than Sorry, what was I saying? Back in the day, if you really wanted to appeal to kids, cartoons were the way to go, and it was only a matter of time before they figured out how to make it educational. Clue Finders was a series of educational games that was frequently described as an interactive Saturday morning cartoon, for its art style and cast of characters, a group of mystery-solving youths in the vein of certain other franchises. Knowing they were creating the first installment in a new series, the developers of Clue Finders conducted extensive focus tests while working on Mystery of Mathra to ensure they made something that kids would actually want to play. The end result is a game that puts its story and mystery first, focusing on character arcs and plot points that entice the player to complete the maths and grammar challenges required to advance the story, rather than simply presenting children with tasks that feel like homework. The approach was a success, as the game launched an extensive series of Clue Finders games to help kids get a clue all the way into their teens. Number 3. Boom Blocks. These days, video games seem to be getting closer and closer to movies all the time, with photorealistic graphics and elaborate stories, and Hollywood talent are starting to take notice. In Interestingly, one of the first big names in cinema to make a foray into gaming was maybe one of the biggest names of them all, but it's maybe not what you'd expect from the director of Jaws and Indiana Jones. Indeed, Boom Blocks was the brainchild of none other than Steven Spielberg, who wanted a creative, non-violent game that he could play with his own kids. The gameplay of Boom Blocks can best be described as a blend of Jenga and Angry Birds, with each level presenting the player with an elaborate stack of blocks and varying goals. In one stage, they'll have to carefully remove certain blocks without collapsing the entire structure, while in the next, they'll have to knock everything down by hurling bowling balls at it. Boom Blocks makes excellent use of the Wii's motion controls with its physics-based gameplay, and its multiplayer party mode is a raucous good time for young and old alike. It won a number of awards, including Best Casual Game and even Best Wii Game of 2008 from several publications, all of which I'm sure looked very nice next to the Oscars on Spielberg's mantle. Number 2, Putt-Putt Saves the Zoo. More or less, any object you can think of has been turned into a video game protagonist at one point or another. We've had gloves, washing machines, and even sliced bread as playable characters. But for some reason, cars seem to be a popular one, even before they were made cool by a certain animated movie whose name I can't quite put my finger on at the moment. Humongous Entertainment became a household name for its point-and-click adventure games with stars like Freddy Fish and Pajama Sam. But maybe the most famous of the bunch is Putt-Putt, a talking purple convertible with a pet dog. Across his adventures, Putt-Putt has joined the circus, been to space, and even travelled through time. And yet his trip to the zoo is the one most fondly looked back upon by many nostalgic fans. Putt-Putt was created by producer Shelley Day as a character for her son's bedtime stories, and it shows. As adventure games go, Putt-Putt Saves the Zoo is a short but sweet experience wherein the titular automobile must save missing baby animals, and along the way can meet new characters, discover secrets, and enjoy the musical stylings of topiary creatures. With a fresh re-release available on modern consoles, it would seem that Putt-Putt still has a lot of gas left in the tank. And number 1, Bugdom. School was always such a drag, with lessons and homework always cutting into our precious gaming time. But imagine if there was a game you could play at school, one the teachers couldn't take away from you. Aside from supergluing a Game Boy to your hand in art class, the next best thing available to many students was Bugdom. Players take on the role of Roly the Roly-Poly. God, try saying that 5 times fast. As he jumps, kicks, and you guessed it, rolls his way through 10 levels to rescue the ladybugs who've been imprisoned by the evil King Thorax. But it's a dangerous world out there for a little bug, and swarms of enemies will stand in Roly's way, including spiders, bees, fire ants, killer fish, and life-sized human feet. Bugdom received high marks from reviewers, who compared it favourably to contemporary platformer games on the N64 and PlayStation, and it's considered the most successful title from its developers Pangea Software. This is likely due in large part to the fact the game came bundled in with the new iMac computers all throughout the early 2000s, putting the game directly into the hands of an entire generation of bored primary school students with nothing better to do in their IT lessons.